Mira Business FM, the sound of success.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Midday Majlis on Mira Business FM, where conversations connect and ideas come alive right at midday with myself, Sahar Mushtaq. Before we dive into today's discussion, don't forget that you can catch Midday Majlis live on Mira Business FM, streaming now on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and of course, Telegram. Our podcast is also available on all your favorite platforms, anytime, anywhere. And today on Midday Majlis, we're diving into the exciting world of sports and events in the UAE and across the region. And we have a very special guest with us, Dr Kam Al Mazrui, known to many as Dr Kam, Director and Head of Sport and Events at Mott MacDonald Middle East. He's flown in all the way from Oman to join us today. Assalamu alaikum, Dr Kam. Welcome to Midday Majlis.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Nice
We're
to be here.
so happy to have you here. Nice to meet you too. Dr. Kam, we'll begin our conversation now with first talking about the UAE being the hub for world-class sports and entertainment events over the past few years. So from your perspective, what makes the UAE such an exciting place for sports and events today?
Well, I think the UAE's it's gone through a transition over the past 20 to 30 years, and it started. Let's go back in history. It started with a very small influx of people coming into the region, helping develop Dubai to where it is now. You know, the engineers and the consultants to create an ecosystem for the people of Dubai and the UAE and Abu Dhabi, but also the expats across the region has helped develop the UAE landscape in terms of sports and events. So history is about the emergence of the GCC sports market, events market, and entertainment market has been founded on a good foundational basis. So we can see that with the infrastructure that sits around there. We've got beautiful stadiums like the Al Ain Stadium, Sheikh Zayed Stadium as well. So all of these stadiums that have been developed over the years. And through the refurbishments and through the developments, we can see a good understanding that people still are engaging with sport in that area. Now, if we look demographically, we've got a lot of people from different parts of the world. It's a multicultural and multi-faceted ecosystem. And by having that, you need to cater for different types of sports. We're talking football and cricket, and a big area is also rugby. Asia Rugby has been supporting the rugby scene in Dubai. There's huge competitions. Only, I'd say 3-4 months ago, there was a huge.
So there was just so much going on.
Yes, so much. And then if you look at the entertainment and the event space, you've got brilliant facilities, starting with the Coca-Cola Arena. You've got the Etihad Arena as well, where you're bringing stars from across the globe. Okay, we're talking comedians and artists and sports competitions. So that ecosystem kind of has set sort of the standard of what the GCC should be sort of following, but also has its individualistic view of how it approaches it through its specific demographics.
Right. And, you've set the tone so well, and you've highlighted that UAE's growing reputation as a sports and events hub is so on the top, with great venues as well that we have. And now moving on, can you please tell us that we know that UAE continues to host major football tournaments while Saudi is preparing for 2034's FIFA. So from your perspective, how do these parallel efforts strengthen the region's overall sports proposition?
Well, I think it's amazing, and each country has its own vision. But if we talk about Saudi's 2030 vision, which was implemented around 2015, 2016, it was clear that the drive was to move revenues away from oil revenue and more into tourism, religious tourism, and have a different viewpoint of how Saudi Arabia is looked at and how it moves forward in the world. Now, this has been grounded across different facets. We're talking at policy level, we're talking at government level, we're talking at investment level, and even at the human level. And human capital is really important. You can build all the infrastructure, but if you don't take the journey with the population, it won't work. It won't sync. So the important part really is embedding the visions to link it to the quality of life. Link it to job creation, link it to all those different facets. And I think it's really important that it's not siloed within the GCC. I think the way I see it is each region has its story and each region has its direction.
Its character.
Exactly. I think with the projects the mega projects that are happening in Saudi Arabia, the preparations for the 2034 World Cup, what that means is it's providing the next step to providing major sports events across the GCC. Qatar did an amazing job on the World Cup, and it kind of anchored us as the GCC to say we can.
I was actually going to say that Qatar has made headlines already in 2022. So as someone working in sports infrastructure and event delivery, what did Qatar 2022 represent for the region and from a project execution standpoint?
I think Qatar, for a small nation, they pulled it out the bag. I really think they did. They created stadiums and infrastructure. We're not just talking about sports stadiums, but the infrastructure that sits behind it. Yeah, we've got metros and hotels, all the supporting factors to deliver a World Cup. Now, a World Cup isn't just the game; it's a host city. So that host city needs to cater for the different demographics, the different people coming in, and that influx puts a strain on services, puts a strain on medical services, the fire services, and civil defence, ensuring that the participants who are watching and who are partaking are safe and comfortable in the country. So it was a good foundation for the rest of the GCC for a major event, a World Cup, first one in the Middle East, which then has given positive feedback across the globe.
And I think it only also boomed the other industries, for example, hospitality and the healthcare.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the things that Qatar did really well was they created a hub called Aspire, which is one of the top sports facilities where other GCC countries use those facilities. Yeah, from Oman to Saudi to the UAE would use those high-end facilities because that's what was there at the time. And other countries across other regions from Spain and Italy use those facilities. So Qatar has founded itself over a good way as a hub of sport excellence. But that's a good thing because that's a catalyst for the rest of the region as well.
True, and it was such a big success.
A huge success.
A very proud moment for all of us here in the GCC.
Yes, 100%. I was singing with praise with how everything was delivered. Even from the design architecture, the approach that was taken of the stadiums, beautiful stadiums. Al Bayt Stadium, anchored within tradition. Of the Khaliji tents that we use in the deserts, all the way to futuristic Al Rayyan Stadium, all the way to Education City, which then was a catalyst for creating a hub for legacy, which is an important part.
It is indeed. And now, given your work in sports project delivery, how do you view the Saudi Arabia's upcoming World Cup in terms of scale and ambition compared to previous regional events?
I think each country has given what they can give their best. And I think for Qatar, they did really well. Saudi is taking that next step further. We're talking about stadiums and facilities and competitions that are overlapping in the next 10 years. In 2027, we've got the AFC that's going to be played in Saudi Arabia. We've also got the 2034 World Cup, the 2034 Asia Games. So there's a lot happening, and those facilities that at the time in 2015 before the vision weren't existent or were in a state where they need refurbishment or upgrade. So what we're seeing now is a focus on getting those facilities delivered at a pace that no one's seen in the world. And when we talk about mega project delivery, Mega project delivery usually is delivered over a 20-year, 30-year period as you build equitable sites across the country or countries. It takes time. There's brand new cities, with municipalities and schools and hospitals that all sit around that anchor of sport.
And I think also the future cities like Gidea and Neom will be a part of that.
Correct. So there's a bit of a history about Qiddiya, and not a lot of people know about it. But Qiddiya was always primed as a destination, and a destination usually has an influx usually towards the end of the weekend, and then gets activated over the weekend. But very clearly, it would have been a ghost town in the week, where people are going back to work. And bearing in mind, Qiddiya is about 45 kilometers.
It is a bit far as well.
It's a bit far. It is 45 kilometers away from Riyadh. So
Which is quite a distance when you're driving in traffic.
Yes, and it can be quite a distance. But so what's really important that I've seen is the business cases that sit behind these developments need to be anchored around people. Okay, so it was very clear that Qiddiya needed to become a city instead of a destination. So a proposition or remaster plan of that created an environment where you can have a city that can at peak will populate up to 1 million people, and that's a mixture of staff that are going to be living and working there with all the functions such as the stadiums and the arenas, but also creating a city and a city hub where it's the centre of sports excellence. So if you look at, again, if I go back to Qatar, you have Aspire. Qiddiya will be the Aspire of Saudi. It'll be the hub for major sports. It'll be a hub for entertainment. It'll be a hub for mixed use. It'll be a hub for high medical, for federations. So the scale of that is just tremendous.
And we are not aware of that right now because all we have for now is just the Six Flags open up there.
Correct.
So there's so much more to see in the coming years, as we understand and you've explained.
Yeah.
So talking about Six Flags, that has come to the Middle East, and also Disney is coming to the UAE. So events as well are going to make it really grand in the upcoming years. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I think it's exciting, to be honest. I think all the children who kind of follow the news and follow what's happening in terms of Six Flags or even Abu Dhabi Disney. But if we focus on the specifics of Six Flags is a good anchor for Qiddiya. I think it's done an amazing job for what it's done in the time that they've been able to deliver that project. And the feedback has been tremendous. We've got the fastest roller coaster in the world that runs across there. I haven't gone on it yet, but maybe one day I will, inshallah. And it's a good anchor. But there's furthermore developments that are going to be developed across Saudi Arabia. Seven Entertainment, as well as another organisation that they're building indoor entertainment facilities. Similar to Warner Brothers World, similar to IMG, very similar to those type of facilities, and they'll be dotted around the country. So the focus is not just Riyadh. The focus is Riyadh, Dammam, Jeddah, Mecca, Medina, Abha. So all these areas are building capital for people.
Right. And moving on now. So this World Cup is also part of bigger picture. So as for the development plans, so from an investment and development perspective, how do you see the World Cup accelerating Saudi Arabia's broader vision, objectives in sports, tourism, and entertainment?
Right. Yeah. So that's a very good question. I like that question. Investment, really, it's founded on many factors, and that investment is based on a robust business case. And that robust business case comes really from the top, how the investment is presented to the wider community, because you need the investors to be comfortable they're investing in something that will get their returns. And the great part of the GCC is, and specifically with Dubai and Saudi Arabia and Oman and the other regions, is that level of stability of investment. So there is a history of investment in the Middle East, and what we're seeing now is we're seeing that investment being diversified into sport, into hospitality, into those different sectors. So the important part really is understanding when these investments are taken and are invested in and created a stadium or buying a football club, the value is what it gives back to the community. And I think that's a balance between investment and actually engaging with the communities to understand the positiveness of that investment and how it plays back to the wider community and the nations that they serve.
Right. So there is a lot of investment coming into the region with regards to entertainment and events, sports, etc. That's great. And now, as someone involved in a project delivery and strategy, what opportunities do you see for the UAE-based companies, consultants, and professionals to contribute to Saudi Arabia's World Cup preparations?
I think it's already happening. There is, cross-pollination of talent across the GCC. We see it coming from the UAE, the consultants, the engineers, but also we're getting lessons learned from the Qatar World Cup as well. So specialists from Qatar have embedded themselves in the Saudi market, which is great. So those lessons learned and improvement strategies will be implemented into those projects. And then from a UAE perspective, what we see is there's a whole ecosystem that has built Dubai and built UAE and built up those projects. And that ecosystem has also cross-pollinated and establishes businesses in KSA. So what we see is cross-pollination of talent. Over time, I see that knowledge transfer from the UAE market will and is enhancing the way that projects are delivered in Saudi Arabia.
Right. And moving on, I would like to ask you that in your work across different markets, how important is the collaborative approach between the GCC countries when it comes to building a regional sports ecosystem?
I think that's another good question. I like that one. So the way that the ecosystem works, I think there's the external view that what we see from the public eye, from the newspapers, the news, and what we see. But behind all of that, there's the great minds and the brains that kind of establish what those policies or those national strategies really are focused on. So each country has a national strategy, be it a Vision 2030 strategy, a sports strategy, an entertainment strategy. And those strategies usually focus on the country's deliverables. But from that strategy level, it then drops down into the delivery level. And that delivery level is where we see that cross-pollination of knowledge across the GCC. So if we take it back to my last statement, if we look at Qatar, there's excellent examples there where we've brought knowledge from Qatar, we've brought knowledge from the UAE, we've brought knowledge and the lessons learned that we're seeing from the KSA market, because KSA's market is maturing in terms of that deliverables, and also looking at the other periphery regions such as Oman and Jordan and even as far as Morocco with the recent Asia Cup over there. But the focus really is ensuring that when a host city hosts something, we're able to get cross-pollination between people landing in Dubai or in the UAE or Abu Dhabi and enjoying the sports and entertainment there, jumping on a very quick short flight to Saudi, enjoying the entertainment facilities there. And I think governments have made it easier in terms of if you get a visa in one country, you can visit other countries off that visa. So I can see the collaboration happening, and it's exciting to see. So let's wait for the next World Cup, and we'll see how we get there.
And let's wait for the GCC visa to start rolling around as well.
Correct.
That's also in works, right?
Yeah, so that'll be amazing. That'll be amazing.
So convenient for everyone. And now moving on, Dr. Kam, in your project work, how are you seeing technology and innovation reshape the stadium design, fan experience, and event operations across the Middle East?
So I think it boils down to the user journey for each and every person that goes to a facility or an entertainment. I think the user journey is really important, understanding that demographic, and ensuring that when technology is embedded as part of that ecosystem, it needs to be not just embedded within the facility itself, but over the city scale. So you may have heard of terms before about smart cities and smart city integration. And what that means really is ensuring that when someone buys that ticket from day one, they know on match day they can jump on a metro for free because that ticket allows them to jump on that metro. It allows them to pre-order, their favorite snack before entering the stadium. It helps them, enjoy and wayfind themselves across the city. But also haptic technology, even AI, that's embedded into stadiums that we see and will be seeing in the future, where immersiveness and immersive experiences is going to be a big focus. So I would see in the next 10 to 15 years, real push on immersive experiences, not just for users, but also for the people who are sat at home as well, who can't make it to the stadium.
Right. So I guess because you've been to the Qatar World Cup, there's so much that you know. And from, for example, getting onto the metro for free, having the pass for the game, and also ordering snacks. So that's pretty interesting. And it's only going to get better for fans, right?
Exactly. Way better. Time over time. I think technology is catching up.
And the AI will play a great role.
Yes,
it
definitely.
already is, but it will. And now, talking about sustainability, so how are sustainability requirements influencing the way we plan and build sports infrastructure in the Gulf today?
I think so. Sustainability is a very big subject, and maybe we have to have another chat about that. But I'll summarize it the best I can. Sustainability has different facets in terms of the embedded carbon to build a facility or an entertainment facility or a stadium, but also how it looks at ecology, how it looks at social improvement, how it provides an operational sustainability model. Even running a facility has to be sustainable when you run it, in terms of waste as well. So it's a multifaceted approach. I think it starts really at the early stage, and so it's embedded within the business case. It's put into the design process, and then advising the operators to ensure that they're being sustainable in the operations phase of it. And sustainability is quite broad as a subject, but FIFA have been really positive about sustainability. Any stadium that is going to be FIFA approved will need to have some form of sustainability accreditation. Now, it's not forcing it in a way that you have to follow a specific requirement, but it focuses on regional sustainability requirements. So sustainability in the Middle East will be very different to how it is in Germany or UK or the US. So what FIFA have been very sympathetic was, we understand sustainability is important, but we need to make sure it's founded within the regional aspects of where that stadium is being built.
All right, so that's an important key factor to have a look on. Right, and one final question. So what does this regional evolution from hosting to delivering world-class sporting events say about the Middle East capabilities in complex project delivery and the strategic execution?
Right, so strategic execution, delivery, all that is founded on the basis of a robust delivery model. And there's multiple delivery models that can be achieved on different scales, and they're all based on risk factors. So these risk factors are based on how quickly you need to get something on board and finished and delivered. And that's usually is anchored under the procurement aspects of delivering projects. So there's a traditional way of building where you get the consultants and the designers to design, projects get tendered, bidded for, and then they build. And that's a traditional way of delivering stadium or facilities. Now, if you want to fast track projects, there's a project methodology which is called design and build, where you design to a certain extent, you release that information, the contractor builds it, but as you're building, you're designing. But there's risk factors with there, so delays may happen in design or approvals.
It's interesting how while you're building, you're actually designing.
Yes, exactly. So each risk factor depends on which model that you want to follow. So what we're seeing in the GCC market, it uses all different aspects of that procurement strategy.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Kam, for being a part of our show. You flew in from Oman, and we really appreciate you. I mean, coming to our show, especially during this month of Ramadan, it must be a little bit difficult.
No, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
You've actually given us so many insights, wonderful insights from on UAE events to Saudi Arabia's 2034 plans and the region's journey in between. And it was lovely talking to you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And with that, we come to the end of today's show. I'll be back with more engaging conversations and interesting discussions. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Mira Business FM. Until next time, signing off.
Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio.